There is a farm in Iceland called Merka, or Dark River. There lived a deacon who had a girlfriend named Gudrun. She lived on the other side of the Herga River on a farm called Begasau, and was the housemaid of the pastor there. One day, the deacon crossed the big river on his horse Faxi to meet up with Gudrun to ask her to join him at a Christmas party at Merkel. But an accident happened while the deacon was riding back home from discussing the plans with Gudrun. There had been a lot of snow in the days before the deacon met with Gudrun. But while he was visiting Gudrun, there was a weather change and thaw and melting of the ice in the river. The river could not be crossed due to big chunks of ice. The deacon tried to cross the river on a bridge by a sour brow, which was next to the farm to Merka. The bridge broke and the deacon hit his head on a chunk of ice and drowned. A farmer found the deacon's body the next day and was buried a week before Christmas. Gudrun didn't hear about the death of her boyfriend, as it was not possible to cross the river in this weather, so no news could be brought to her. So when Christmas Eve arrived, the deacon came to pick her up, as he had promised. Gudrun had no idea that he was dead. She hurried out to meet him, and only had time to put on one sleeve of her overcoat. They did not talk, but the deacon put Gudrun on the horse behind him, and they rode together towards the river Horgia. The deacon's face was hidden by a hat and a scarf, but as they reached the river, the deacon's horse tripped, and his hat fell forward. Gudrun, who was riding towards the back of the horse, saw his bare skull shining in the moonlight. The deacon then said, "The moon fades, death rides. Don't you see a white spot at the back of my head? Go on, go on." Gudrun was frightened and didn't respond. There are different accounts though. Some say that she responded, saying, "I see what it is." But that's difficult to believe. Most think that they didn't speak until they arrived at Lichgate at Merka. The deacon then said, "Wait here, girl, go while I move Faxi over the fence. The ghost of the deacon called Gudrun after his death. Ghosts cannot utter the words for God, and the first part of the name Gudrun, Gud, means God in Icelandic. Gudrun glanced into the graveyard and noticed an open grave. The deacon then tried to pull her into the grave. Luckily, she only had the time to put on one sleeve of her coat, and the deacon ripped off her empty sleeve, and she was able to break free. The deacon then disappeared into the grave, and it was filled from both sides. Gudrun realized that the deacon must have died, and that she had met his ghost. She was so scared that she rang the bell until help arrived at the farm. Gudrun was haunted by the deacon's ghost that night, and nobody could get any sleep. For a fortnight, Gudrun could not be alone, and she could not sleep unless somebody was with her. A sorcerer from Skagafjorda had to be called in for help, and by exorcism, the sorcerer managed to get the ghost of the deacon into the ground, where a big rock, which still lays there to this day, was placed on top, and where the deacon rests, and the haunting has stopped. The rock is in Mecca in Yohogdal Valley, through the ring road 1, leading to Akureyri, if you dare to see it. According to legend, one of the most famous mystical women of England was born in a cave in Knaresborough, Yorkshire. The place of her birth continues to be a famous site of stories connected with witches. Mother Shipton was born as Ursula Southall in 1488. Her mother was Agatha Southall, who was only 16 years old when she gave birth to Ursula. Ursula was reputedly born very ugly and grotesquely deformed. Her head was too big, her cheeks were sunken, her limbs were twisted, and her eyes supposedly glowed like embers. She also reportedly had a full set of teeth when she was born. Legends say that upon her birth, terrible noises like thunder were heard from the cave. According to the people who lived around it, there is proof that Ursula was a daughter of the devil. Ursula grew up as a lonely child, focused on her inner world. She was very connected with nature, the forest, and her own thoughts. It is unknown when her pathetic visions began. All of her life was connected with the cave, where she practiced her craft, searching for visions and intentionally or not, creating a mysterious legend about herself. No matter how bad she is said to have looked, her growing reputation as a witch made her an attractive prospect for many men. She became a popular person in society as well. Some were afraid of her, but for many she was like a magnet. Ursula finally married Toby Shipton, a local carpenter, in 1512. Locals said that she may have used a love potion to bring about the marriage. According to resources, the Shiptons' marriage was comfortable and happy. Although they didn't have children, they stayed with each other without any scandals to the end of their lives. Toby seemed to accept and understand the witchy instincts of his wife. He was proud of her unusual skills to see the future as well. Her prophecies were amongst the highly discussed topics in the 17th century British royal court. One of the most famous stories connected with the court is about Cardinal Wolsey. According to Mother Shipton's visions, he would see York without reaching it. In 1530, Wolsey fell out of favour with the king and set out to find refuge in the north. He was within sight of York when Lord Percy arrived with the king's summons, calling him back to London to face a charge for his actions. How is it that a woman who was not connected with the court knew this? Mother Shipton was known as a person with the gift of clairvoyance. She wrote down her prophecies, so perhaps she was also a healer. She was a very successful advisor who supported people in many ways. Her fame was huge, so people travelled to Knaresborough from far away. She was warned many times that her activities might lead her to be burnt as a witch. according to legend, she once revealed some of her visions to people who tried to blackmail her. She reported them, what she saw would happen if they hurt her. Nobody ever decided to bring Mother Shipton to trial. The reputation of Mother Shipton as a witch and a prophet was caused by her foretelling the events in the more and less distant future. In her visions she saw the accession of Lady Jane Grey, the execution of Mary Queen of Scots, and the defeat of the Spanish Armada by Francis Drake. The prophecies of Mother Shipton were published as a book for the first time in 1641, and in one of them she said, "Carriages without horses shall go, and accidents fill the world with woe. Around the world thoughts shall fly, in the twinkling of an eye. Under water men shall walk, shall ride, shall sleep and talk. In the air men shall be seen, in white, in black, and in green. Iron in the water shall float, as easy as a wooden boat." In 1665, London suffered because of the Great Plague. 1 year later, the Great Fire destroyed much of it, and Samuel Pepys wrote in his diary, "See, Mother Shipton's word is hound." Some of her prophetical verses described iron ships, submarines, and aircraft. Experts on her writing said she even saw the internet in her visions. Another one of her most famous prophecies was connected with modern civilization. She believed that the world would end in the 19th century, which some say could have been a reference to the Industrial Revolution. Mother Shipton died in 1561 or 1567. She was buried in unconsecrated ground, perhaps near Clifton. For the next 80 years, her prophecies were published, hidden, and her name was a source of fear. Later, she remembered as a person who knew more than others, and people appreciated her visions and believed that they were true. Real or not, she is still an important part of English folklore. The cave where Ursula was born was a place for meetings connected to occultism for centuries, and now it is a popular tourist destination, but also a legendary site for people fascinated by her past. Approaching Stirling Castle in the daytime is rather daunting. Filled with the scent of ancient dust, damp stone, and Duke River grass, the palace exudes magic from the moment one steps inside its grounds. Now imagine the same feeling, those same scents in the dark of the night. The fields around the castle are empty, the only noises are your gentle footsteps on the hard stones, echoing through the structure as if someone, somewhere close, is following you. There are shadows in every corner, no sun chases them away through open windows. No burning torches cast them aside as they did once upon a time. Yet in the dark and the echoing silence, all alone in a room, chilled by the dampness alone, you feel a cold breath against the back of your neck, and you know that while the storytellers are dead, they are not gone. A woman known as the Green Lady is said to wander the castle's halls. According to locals, raised on tales of Sterling since youth, and the guides who provide ghost tours of the castle, it is filled with female ghosts of all hues of the rainbow. The Green Lady, however, is feared the most. Perhaps it is due to her appearance, not only by her long hair and ghastly green gown, or perhaps it's because of the legend of her death. Regardless, it is her likeness who frequents the halls most often. So naturally, it is with her story that we must begin. While it is uncertain who this ghost might be, the Green Lady has been theorized as one of two people: a military commander's daughter, who was a victim of a star-crossed relationship, which eventually led to her suicide, or an unnamed handmaiden, a serving girl of the most infamous female leader of Scotland, Mary, Queen of Scots. In the year of her Lord, 1562, Queen Mary returned to Scotland from France after her French husband, King Francis, died. She remained at Stirling Castle, the home she had been raised in, surrounded by the faithful folk of Stirling who valued rather than damned Mary's royal position in the British Isles. One of the young women who attended the Queen believed herself a receiver of the gift of premonition, and prophesied that her beloved Queen Mary was in dreadful danger. Though it is uncertain if Mary believed the girl's abilities of foresight, legend says that she allowed the girl to watch over her as she slept. Now the tale would make just as much sense if one stated that a group of soldiers who valued the Tudor family over the Stuart Queen had attacked in the night. The girl had not foreseen an assassination attempt on Mary. It would not have been unusual. Yet what happened was quite the opposite. In fact, could be called a freak accident. One night, while the girl watched over Mary, she is said to have felt herself drifting off, exhausted from her constant watch. The girl closed her eyes but for a moment, and awoke to find her queen's bed aflame. In a twist of perfect irony, the fire came from the candle the servant girl had lit to ensure that, if the queen awoke while she slept, the queen would be comforted by the light. As the room filled with smoke and fire, and the queen, whose own clothes were already burning, could not be awoken, the young girl called for help as loud as she could. Eventually, both the unconscious queen and the petrified girl were rescued. However, only the queen survived the traumatic event, as the girl died from wounds, and despite her noble efforts, only the colour of her dress remains in memory. Some say the Green Lady haunts the halls of Stirling out of guilt for the Queen's near-death experience. Others say she is merely a lost soul, unable to move on because of the trauma of her death. Regardless, it does not appear that her life poses any indication of a malicious intent against the living, so the fear of the Green Lady comes from the belief that she is an omen of misfortune. Another ghost ghost believed to wander Stirling is a woman called the Pink Lady. Tales of her are fewer than those of the Green Lady, as any indication of who she was is even more difficult to know for certain. Yet one of the prevalent theories is that she is Mary, Queen of Scots herself, still haunting the rooms of her childhood and widow's shelter. Cousin of Queen Elizabeth I of England and mother of King James VI of England, Mary's life was once filled with contempt, political strife, and near-death experiences that undoubtedly shook her to the core. It is highly possible that Mary, who met her death at the point of a sword, while her head lay on the execution block, could not bear to leave the country she believed to be rightfully hers. If she is indeed the Pink Lady, and the Green Lady is certainly well cared for. Should you ever visit Stirling Castle for the first time or the 50th, consider these ghosts as you wander through their domain. They are used to one another, they have haunted the walls for hundreds of years, and they very likely mean you no harm. They might in fact merely wish to tell you who they are, so their names can be remembered. If you ever smell the ancient dust, the damp stone of the Duke of Ardgrass, of the castle seated in the Scottish lowlands, be aware of the directionality of the wind and airflow. It could be that the ghosts are right behind you.
Thank you to all of my amazing patrons. A special thank you to Apollo, Chad Ash, David Hunter, Jeffrey Lowe, Keith Carrick, Mark Pollock, Objective Advocate, Patrick Moffat, Steve Lachlan, and Tony Simpson. You're all wonderful.